Jeremy Bentham was an English philosopher, social reformer, lawyer and vegetarian born in the 18th century. What mattered to him was the greatest happiness of the greatest number, a view that made him the father of modern utilitarianism. However, Bentham detected a serious and potentially debilitating defect, rendering the utility principle as the greatest happiness of the greatest number. He came to see that such a principle could justify inordinate sacrifices by a minority in the interest of enhancing the happiness of a majority. He considered this a false conclusion, but one that needed to be addressed. Be the community in question what it may, he writes. Divide it into two unequal parts. Call one of them the majority, the other the minority. Lay out of the account the feelings of the minority. Include in the account no feelings but those of the majority. The result you will find is that to the aggregate stock of the happiness of the community, loss, not profit, is the result of the operation. So, in essence, the unhappiness created by the loss of something will usually have a greater impact on a person than the happiness brought about by its gain to someone else. This is also called the disappointment prevention principle. If it were proper to sacrifice the fortune of one individual to augment that of the others, it would be still more desirable to sacrifice a second and a third, and so on to any greater number, without the possibility of assigning limits to the operation. Since whatever number may have been sacrificed, there still remains the same reason for adding one more. In a word, the interest of the first is sacred, or the interest of no one can be so. The interests of individuals are the only real interests. Take care of individuals, never molest them, never suffer them to be molested, and you have done enough for the public. In addition, he introduced the so-called sanctions regarding the maximization of human happiness. These principles limit the individual's drive for happiness, so it does not impair those of others. The highest form of these sanctions is a sympathetic sanction, which takes the suffering of another being into account. Bentham also claimed that the sympathetic sanction is in fact a privilege rather than a burden, because only highly developed societies are able to care about their conscience. So in conclusion, you can derive an antinatalistic argument from his lines of arguing, even though Bentham himself would certainly dismiss this train of thought. But if you think his arguments to the bitter end, you cannot deny the moral necessity to stop procreation, as the pain of a single miserable life outweighs the happiness of 1,000 good ones. The joy that a potential child may provide for the parents or the society does not compensate for its suffering. True to his sympathetic sanction, Bentham was also a pioneer of vegetarianism. The day may come when the rest of the animal creation may acquire those rights which never could have been withheld from them, but by the hand of tyranny. The question is not, can they reason, nor can they talk, but can they suffer?